Next up, we have the last bit of our session, which will be a discussion of sharing practices and the ways that organizations have advanced with data and AI ethics. And I'm very excited to invite to the stage Arja Mehtälä, Corporate Responsibility Manager from Elisa, and Sanni Pöntinen, Development Specialist from City of Tampere. So some local voices here also. So my first question is that where and when were you faced with the concept of data responsibility?
Well, data responsibility as such, maybe 5 years or so in my current role at Elisa as a corporate responsibility manager. But then when I'm thinking about all the different terms which relate to data responsibility or responsible data or fair data or however you want to call it, it goes 10 years back or even more, because I remember the time when I was in a previous company working with sustainability. So we were talking about research of neural network, for example, which was kind of related to the topic today. Then we discussed about or studied the autonomous driving, so like self-driving cars, which are related to data very much, and AI as well. And then health and well-being business, where kind of some topics of this data and AI as well. So it depends what you call data responsibility, but it goes far back.
Yeah.
Quite same with me also. I worked my first of my career 15 years in museum sector, and before that my first job was in Tampere Theatre Festival, and I was a trainee there. And the question was about the use of the images and the IPR rights. So it's that was maybe 2003. Yeah. So that was the first time.
Well, I know, Arja, you have been taking part in Tieke's data responsibility training. Has there been other kind of trainings or help or guidance that has helped you to advance to this topic or advance with this topic? And how was that training experience for you?
Well, the Tieke training was really good. So thanks for that. Thanks, Mikko, for facilitating that. And so it kind of helped kind of structure the way of discussing with the organization, and structure in a way to set the right questions for different parts of the data management. So in a way that was a great training. Of course, there has been plenty during the years, and I must say that nowadays especially with the generative AI, so it has kind of exploded, all the trainings and webinars and discussion around it. So there is more than you can participate, really.
Have you utilized some frameworks or training or kind of concepts when you've been advancing with these topics in Tampere?
Yeah, I've been this kind of learning by doing person, basically. So it was maybe year 2018, and we wanted to understand students' well-being. So we made this kind of pilot where we combined different kind of data sets, and there I understood that there's these models and there's questions of responsibility and so on. So I'm still a learner. So I want to say that I'm really learning this topic still, and so I'm not lawyer or data scientist, for example, but I think this is a huge issue in the public sector at the moment, and all the developers should learn about this stuff.
Yeah, so my next question is actually related to that. That would you argue that the AI ethics and data responsibility are kind of key issues for a modern organization? And if so, why do you feel it is so important for your organization?
I must first continue with that. I think we all learn by doing. So at least I feel that I'm never kind of ready for upcoming things. Well, as I come from the ICT company, so Elisa, so data is kind of everything. So Elisa is a kind of software-oriented organization. So when you talk about software, so you always have data, and we have telecom services, we have entertainment, we have IT services, we have services for Finnish customers, Estonian customers, where our main markets are, and then internationally around. So when dealing with data and software, so it is essential to understand how you manage the data and how you kind of in a responsible way treat, for example, the customer data. So that's kind of if we lose that management, if we fail there, so we don't have a business.
How about for the city?
Exactly the same. Totally, exactly the same. And I think it has been always very central, the use of data. But nowadays we can get so much out of it. And there's a huge promise also. We can sell better, we can target our products better, our services better, and so on. It's even irresponsible not to use data. So, but I think why we talk about these AI ethics at the moment is that we understand also that more complicated these AI applications get, the consequences of that might get out of the control. And also why we are worried at the moment. We all here in Finland, for example, in a close history, we have a case Vastaamo, for example, where very sensitive data, mental health data, were stolen and sold in a dark net. And even it's almost 10,000 people who are suffering of that case this day. So it is a huge question, you know. It's a question of people's lives. So I think so it is, and it should be a big issue in organizations that services are depending on data.
Well, you mentioned Vastaamo, but how about what kind of other concerns or risks have you either witnessed or foreseen that you can maybe share with the audience regarding maybe reckless use of data or some kind of mishandling situations?
I don't know if I can kind of find any kind of reckless use of the data, but really like when being in the business where we have like data in our hands, so we must be a responsible player. So for example, this being in the Finnish society, a critical play in the infrastructure, for example, where everybody's data is moving. So you have to be you have to be cautious that everything works smoothly.
Yeah.
So that Finnish society and our customers and people can trust that where we kind of where we are in, they can trust that everything goes in the right way. So,
do you sometimes get some collaboration suggestions or companies who are suggesting to buy data from you, which you have to say no to because of the like you described?
Not necessarily data, maybe, but of course we kind of look at the partners with whom we deal with, and with the international business. So we have to be very cautious with whom we interact.
Yeah. How about for you, from the public sector or some other organizations you've seen? Are there some concerns?
Maybe I want to just comment that I think we are a society of trust. Everything lies on there. So if we lose that, it's really hard to develop anything. So that's why we should be so concerned. And our society is also organized that way that data really flows. So I think it would be quite a catastrophic if it wouldn't.
Yes.
So maybe just adding this.
Yeah. Well, you both are taking these things very seriously, like you described. So what kind of practices or tools or other things you could recommend or give tips to the audience regarding like how to get started with data responsibility or AI ethics? How has it been?
Maybe the learning what I have myself is that when we started to create the ethical principles for data and AI, so it was kind of new topic for me, and then of course I cannot do it myself, so I have to take in the whole organization and get kind of expertise from different parts of the organization, and which we did. And really that time we were looking this ethics, first of all, from many different angles, so that first we had to kind of define what is AI, and what does it mean, and then we kind of needed to define what is ethics. I thought that I knew what ethics is. It's about moral, doing right and wrong, making difference between right and wrong. But it's not that easy, and did a lot of reading that time, what ethics is about. But then how kind of we laid our foundation on our company's values and our code of conduct. So that kind of defined the ethics for the principles what we created. And then when we were looking at data and AI from different angles, so then there were things like privacy, security, that kind of so that it's really about all the policies and compliance related to those which we needed to take into account. Then we looked at what I think Mikko showed nicely. There's this transparency, data democracy, literacy, explainability, accountability, so that we needed to think that what does it mean for us, and there that human needs to be always in the center, so you can kind of not give the responsibility for algorithms to make the decisions. Algorithms can kind of analyze the data and do many things there, but in the end, human is in the center. Then we were looking at kind of the bias related to diversity, for example, or equality, or human rights and that kind of stuff, looking at the social angle there. And then in the end, the kind of the environment and society, that what do we do with the data, and what kind of impacts does that have, for example, for climate change or environment. So all in all, looking very from different angles, the whole kind of topic. And then the main thing there related to ethics is that we want to do the right thing there. So that's the kind of main thinking behind.
Quite well connecting different parts of today's agenda. So
I think she said it all. Maybe I add still something. So you need to think really holistic way and think the whole life cycle in the data using. But about the ethics, it's a tricky part really, because it is really like promoting good, preventing bad. Basically, that is the whole question of ethics. But what is good and what is bad, and you have to think of that in a context. So and what I wanted to add still was that. After that, when you have done the thinking about the ethics, then I think you should think, what is the problem you are solving? Where do you want to put this technology? Where is its place? That is the next one. And then I think there's 4 things, at least in public sector. Then you check the legislation, the law, AI Act, Data Act, and so on. And then you have, of course, the ethic corner, but then you have a people and a public sector. You should always think about how to engage the people. This is our world. This is our society. So you should really get the citizens part in. Yes. And the last corner is the technology. Should we bring it in or not? is it place for technology here or not? We are very technocratic society, and we think always that there's a solution from technology. There might be some other solution also, and we should think that also. So life cycle, holistic way, ethics, law, legislation, people, and technology. That's the
There's
5 things.
2 points from there. I will go back to legislation, but first the people. So do you already get a demand from your customers, your citizens? Are they asking about transparency, data responsibility? Is this something that is already on the agenda of some people, that they know their rights and they know how to demand these things? Or do you see there's still work to do to educate people?
Not necessarily like responsible data or something, but privacy for sure, security for sure, cybersecurity for sure. So that kind of an infrastructure. So those are quite familiar to kind of people and companies, and they ask that. Yeah. And of course, then when we have like human rights things or these inclusion, those are very topical at the moment. But as a kind of in Finland, not so much than in the kind of international supply chain when the human rights are very, very topical. And then of course climate change and that kind of stuff, and related to that energy. But like it's very topical, so they don't kind of ask about data responsibility or sustainable data or something. Or I think that maybe now with the generative AI, maybe there will be more questions about what AI really can do for kind of customers and people in general. Yeah.
And about citizens, how are they reacting to your work?
I was talking about this topic was last week with our GDPR specialist Ari Andreasson, and he said that there has been only few questions. So I think it might be that it's question that public services, we don't compromise with the law. We don't compromise with these things. So people are not that worried, but again, that might change when this area is developing.
Yeah. Well, what about the legislation and regulation? You both mentioned it, that it's a thing you comply, of course, to. But how do you see the role? Is it driving more ethical and responsible approach towards data and AI? And how do you see? How do you react to it? What pace? How much are you contributing to European Commission's plans and so forth?
I think you have to have both carrot and stick. So in a way. Well, now that we talk about AI, so what I'm afraid is that legislation comes too late in a way, and the legislation might, and let's see how it evolves, but so that it doesn't restrict the kind of development as such. But I see that there is a need for both the kind of the new innovations and freedom of experiencing and freedom of creating something new, but on the other hand, you have to have some kind of rules which you comply with. Yeah.
Maybe I just add that the older I get, more I appreciate the good governance, and I think we just need governance and. Legislation, law, and regulation is part of that. It gives us continuity in the society. We can trust. We can build on it, and we can see the future coming when we have these things in place. So maybe just this one.
Well, this comes outside of our preset questions, but how do you see it? Because here we have a kind of a big organizer company, and then we have a public sector player. What do you think you can learn from each other on these topics?
A lot, yes. Yeah. Yes. And I think these kind of forums and all kind of programs where we work together, that those are really beneficial and fruitful Well, at least I see from our side. And of course, we have public sector customers.
Yes.
So we have constant interaction with them and discussion with them as well.
Okay, we didn't prepare this, but I totally agree with you. Working together, sharing ideas, just we get the bold ideas, share them, and learn about them. I think it's crucial. Yeah.
So, what do you see is upcoming in the future? How is this domain developing? There was talks there about becoming a more part of the reporting, sustainability reporting, taking the data in there. How do you see that this field will develop, the requirements, the demand from the citizens and customers and so forth?
Yeah, it's interesting to see how the citizens and society kind of what they would require and how they see that what companies should be doing for the reporting. So new regulations are coming all the time. So CSRD is coming, and there are many other kind of legislations which kind of demand more and more from companies and maybe public sector as well, and well related to data in general. So we do report data all the time. So it's kind of natural part of our operations.
What to add? I think this all depends a lot of us, us humans, what we demand and what we are entitled to. I think if we demand accountability from companies, then we will get it. And if we are indifferent and everything is for sale, then it's likely to happen. So, I think we all should be awake, and really. But maybe I say this still about it was more than a year ago. I was asked to come to one podcast to speak about this thing, and I was very afraid in a way that no, I'm not that kind of specialist. There are really researchers and people who are doing this, and then I realized that no. This is matter of every of us. So we should just, talk together, share, and demand things.
Maybe if I can add still, so I think that especially with the AI and data in general, there are a lot of opportunities to come. So it's like we shouldn't be afraid of new things. But as you said, that we have to be awake, and we have to everybody needs to be very kind of critical player and have the skills to understand what's happening around. And when you have this smart device or whatever you do and applications what you use, you have to understand what you are doing. And that's why I'm thinking that there should be more education in schools for young people. Yeah, for young people, and then for the kind of adult education as well. So this kansalaisopisto, whatever. So everybody should increase our skills on this digital field. Yes.
And I would also look the parents. It all starts from home. So parents, be awake, and then the curriculums, like in like basic education and child basic education, and then the higher levels also. I totally agree on this too. So. I think we have very good curriculum in basic education, but of course schools and the teachers are also very independent in their teaching work. But again, all should be awake.
So, as a last question, I would ask for the most exciting thing you're working on the domain of data responsibility and AI ethics currently, or some use case or something that is cooking.
There are so
only
many,
one.
Only one. maybe the thing which is now very topical is this generative AI and all kind of the opportunities what it can bring. But then thinking about the risks and the maybe what is interesting is that how the society will change with this is that will there be new occupations, for example? Will some occupations disappear? What happens with this kind of how to say creative occupations like music or theater or cinema or that kind of stuff? What happens there? And do we still have room for human interaction there, I hope?
Yeah, I guess it's part of the ethics to think about these things.
Yeah, we have that is what you said, it's very exciting. Maybe I tell about the project that is going on in our services. We are working with the ethicist, with Eetikko. So that has been really eye-opening. and what is very interesting is that people are having or feeling a lot of ethical stress at the moment. And that is very interesting word, ethical stress. So that has been a very interesting project in my work.
Sounds interesting. Thank you for a very lively discussion and for improvisation again.